Alright, today we're returning to an archetype that I haven't played on the channel in quite a while, and that is Death's Shadow. Today we'll be playing a Grixis variant of it that I've found on EtherHub, and this is a pretty fun one. We get to play some new cards that we haven't seen on the channel yet, and in general it is a pretty cool deck. Generally, when you're looking at these kind of decks, you're playing Death's Shadow, which, if you haven't seen it before, the namesake card is a 13/13 for 1 that gets -X/-X, where X is your life total. So you can basically only play this card while you have 12 or less life. But if you can control your life total, like we can with our pain lands, our effects like Thoughtseize that make us pay life, or that make us lose life, and then we can pay 2 life for all of our lands, we can kind of control this to a pretty good degree. And basically, we want to get a big Death Shadow out and somehow get that through in order to kill our opponent. And generally, a lot of our creatures are indicative of that game plan. We have Kroxa, another big creature that is pretty cheap, that can kind of just chunk through and deal damage. We're running Ledger Shredders that start small but can eventually get pretty big and go over the top. And other than that, the rest of the deck is a bunch of spells other than our Lurrus in the sideboard. Some cool cards that we're playing include Inquisitions and Thoughtseize. We have basically 7 ways to strip cards from our opponent's hand, and losing life through Thoughtseize is not necessarily a bad thing on turn 1. Fatal Push and Go for the Throat are the 4 ofs for our base removal. We're running some other things like Drown in the Lock here. Molten Impact is another kind of relating one. And then we have Kolaghan's Command that can deal 2 damage to any target. And then other than this, some cool other cards include Bind to Secrecy. This is a counterspell on the low half, but allows us to conjure a duplicate from something in our opponent's graveyard into our hand, which is nice. And then if we are casting this in the late game, we even get something out of the spell book, which can be one of a number of interesting things. I'll just move right through them real quick so that you guys can see that. And it's kind of notable that you can also get Wonder and make our big creatures unblockable. Other than this, we get to run Expressive Iteration because we're in Grixis, another very, very strong card. And a cool thing that we're doing here is founding the third path. Since our deck is mostly 1 and 2 CMC, what we're basically able to do here is really utilize this card to, maybe cast a Thoughtseize for free. Sometimes you can fix your mana with this. But basically, we get a free card on the first... for the first thing. On the second, we get to mill some things in to start to feed our Kroxa and maybe to find it. And then finally, we just get another thing potentially to be casted out of the graveyard. So it's essentially a card advantage even. So a lot of good things going with founding the third path. I personally had never thought of using this in a deck like this, but the deck author, whose name I unfortunately do not have here, thank you, random AetherHub user, they were able to think about this, and it is a very, very smart play to include this in the deck. I think it gives some cool moves that this deck can do. Some other things that I didn't talk about are the one of Temur Battle Rage, which, if you know me, I like to do in my Death Shadow decks because basically being able to give something Double Strike and Trample, if it's like an 8/8 already, a trampling 16/16 is probably going to kill your opponent, especially if you've done some damage to them already. So, if we can find this or hold on to this towards the end of the game, sometimes we can punch through unexpectedly and kill our opponent. And then finally, the last thing that I haven't covered is the Saren's Ransom. Just a 2 of in here. It's a nice fun of 2 of in order to basically just provide us with some card draw. Even though our opponent gets to look at it and choose, we will be able to basically field the graveyard for a Kroxa eventually. Because basically what we want to do is when we draw our Kroxa in the late game, we want to cast it, and then if we're lucky, we can cast it a second time in the same turn and just bring it out. Or we can just play it one turn and then get it out the next. So, a pretty cool deck list. Everything is pretty tight together. Of course, we're a Lurrus deck, so we can get our things back, like our Founding the Third Path, Death's Shadow, Ledger Shredders, all this kind of stuff, our Kroxas even. So hopefully we'll be able to see one of those loops, but hopefully the games will go quick enough that we don't even need to cast our Lurrus in the first place. I'll speak a bit about the lands here since it's a bit relevant with this deck. In the early game, we're often going to be shocking our Watery Grave, Steam Vents, and Blood Crypts, and To some degree, we may also just choose to pay life when we're casting spells using our Sulphurous Springs and stuff like that. Fiery Islet is a forced pay life in order to make mana. But I do like playing this card because you basically have card draw on your lands, which is very, very good if you're flooding towards the end. And the fact that we are in a deck that is okay paying life makes this a pretty good include. With that being said, this is Grixis Shadow. It's going to be some fun games here. We'll hopefully be able to play some pretty moderate to higher level Magic here. And I hope you guys enjoy this one. With that being said, if you want to support the channel, you can do so by dropping a like on the video or by commenting whatever you're thinking about this deck. And then if you're a new viewer of my channel, you can show your support by subscribing. Videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for you here in Historic. That being said, let's hop into some games and get moving with Grixis Shadow. Okay, let's see what our hand's looking like in round 1. Well, the big thing here is that we don't have black mana, and unfortunately that is a pretty big issue for this deck, given the fact that we've drawn 4 cards with black pips in the opener. Easy mulligan. We actually didn't draw a black source again, which is tough. However, this hand's a bit better because we have Founding the Third Path and Expressive Iteration. So we could probably just run out a Founding the Third Path, maybe utilize that to Drown in the Loch or Expressive Iteration. I probably want to play Expressive Iteration and use it to find a land drop to be the most efficient. So while I think I can keep this, I think I'll get rid of Kolaghan's command because I do not see the colors that I need just yet. And we can show them blue first, because if we draw the black, then we can hold up Drown in the Loch. Thoughtseize would have been nice to play. What we'll do here instead is, the good thing about Founding the Third Path is, like I mentioned in the deck tech, you can actually just use it to fix your colors. So what I can actually do here is just play a Founding the Third Path here, and we will use that to Thoughtseize our opponent from hand. Thoughtseize, target our opponent. And this is Gruul Legends, I believe. Okay, so what do we need to watch out for here? Goro's here. Creatures gaining haste is a problem. Tovolar. There's not that many wolf or werewolves. And then Targnar. Sure, whatever. I think the issue probably... Oh, this is not the Domri that gives haste. I think there's a Domri that gives haste. Or maybe it's Riot or something like that. I guess I just will take their 2-drop, set them back a turn. They have 1 card in graveyard. We'll need to get that up for Drown in the Loch here. Targnar coming down. We're going to mill ourselves for it. Try to find a Kroxa. We actually do, which is crazy. Now, I can kill their Oh, I cannot kill their Targnar, unfortunately. So I'll use Expressive Iteration to try to find a land or something. Inquisition of Kozilek is decent. It's actually very good here. We'll put that into hand. And then we will put Death Shadows back because we don't need it right now. And we will use Sulphur Springs to cast our Inquisition here. Targnar is fine to sit on the battlefield for a little bit. He is not a wolf or werewolf, so I don't really care too much about Tolvar. Migloz is annoying. Domri's a problem because I don't have creatures. I'll eventually have a Kroxa as soon as next turn. It's possible that I just think that Kroxa is going to be able to stick in front of all these creatures, so I take Domri. 7 cards in graveyard, that is enough to cast a Kroxa. And now we get to start hitting our opponent's hand. The other question is, do we want to do anything with Founding the Third Path? If I had something that could kill one of these creatures, I probably would. I think what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and Thoughtseize and not cast it. We'll decline to cast. And what I'll instead do is... Oh, I'm an idiot. This island does not cast a Kroxa. Alright, well they have 2 cards in graveyard, so I can kill their Targnar. That's at least something, and then we'll just put in this tapped. We'll use their attack to deal the damage to us instead of doing it to ourselves. Tovolar is here. That is a problem. wait for after attackers, and we will just go ahead and kill this thing. Probably should have done it before combat. That's what I get for not reading the card. We'll take 5 instead of 4 here, going to 10. Going to 9, sorry. And I suppose we might just get the Fiery Islet out early. We're at the point where we want to start minimizing damage to ourselves a little bit as our opponent decides what third card, or what second creature they're going to play here. A Fatal Push seems pretty solid here, if only we can find one. And we have Kroxa from hand. I think we need Kroxa from graveyard though. So here's Kroxa. I'm going to auto-pay this one, going to 7 here. And in terms of things that we want to be able to cast again, it's probably going to be... First of all, we'll put away all the creatures. We'll keep an Expressive Iteration, and it's either Drown in the Lock or EI actually. I think I probably want EI out of there. Drown in the Lock will kill something eventually. Alright, so they discard that Drown in the Lock. Now can kill most of the cards that we've seen from them. I think it can kill everything. And they've got a bunch of 3 CMC things. We have potentially a second Kroxa coming down. That's a free land. On our next turn, we should be able to Kroxa Lurrus at the expense of 1 life. And we should be close to okay from there. So, Miglaws can get big and can actually kill me here if I don't block, so I have to block like this. They'll put all their mana into this thing to keep it alive, and we will have to draw something here. Yep, goes to an 8/8. Alright. We've successfully given ourselves another turn, but I don't think it's going to matter. We can go Lurrus Shredder, maybe. That actually doesn't work. I think no matter what, we are dead. So I could Fiery Islet here, leaving myself 3 mana up. And then I would have to draw another 2 CMC creature. It's actually my only out. Alright, and that was not it. I think we can EI, potentially hit something to deal with one of these, potentially. Yeah, I could EI... Oh, no, I don't think I have the mana for it. Let's see what EI would have found anyway. I think our opponent is going to have this one here. Oh, it's actually very close. Thoughtseize would kill me. Yeah, Founding the Third Path. Put Thoughtseize back. Play the Steam Vents. Yeah, I mean, best I could do is go to 1, Founding the Third Path, and then we would have to just cast something out of the graveyard. But unfortunately, the mana doesn't work out for this. So we'll just go ahead and take our 8 damage here, and opponent has us. They're running a Secret God of the Tree as well. Had a lot of options there. So Legends ends up taking us out. We were just a little bit light on the targeted removal here, unfortunately. Drown in the Lock was not good enough, and then I made a slight mistake with this Expressive Iteration. But it is what it is. Let's hop into round 2 and see if we can't get the thing done. Here we go. Alright, here we go. Round 2. We have Fatal Push, which would have been nice last game. We even have a Spell Pierce to potentially do some tempo-y type of game plan. I am okay to do this. I think Spell Pierce kind of lines up well, assuming that they're trying to make a good turn 3 play. Pay 2 life here, and we'll see what they're on. Alright, that is fine. It's possible that I could try to get out a Ledger Shredder here, but I think the better thing to do is just kind of stay chill here. I'm not going to shock there because I don't know if my opponent will be aggressive or if this is just complete control. See, there's some creatures here. No idea what this is doing in a deck, though, but okay. Maybe Aristocrats, I don't really know. Molten Impact does kill that thing. I'm just not sure that I care. We'll go Expressive Iteration, look for something to do. Look for our third land. Do they have Spell Pierce here? That's awkward. Oh, they might have it, actually. No, they do. Okay. Well, we will take an Inquisition. Put an Inquisition back, and we can play this. Now the question is, do I want to Inquisition them now and see what they're up to? I think that's probably a good idea. Alright, we'll see what they have in hand. If this is the Spell Pierce, then it's the Spell Pierce. And, okay, so yeah, we only have 4 CMC or more. Jin-Gitaxias, so we want to win early. Understandable. So we're going to need to have a counterspell for this. Crippling Fear. Probably not an issue once our life total gets low enough. Gelatinous Cube's a problem, and Professor... I mean, all of these are not great. At least we get to take a land out from our opponent, which hopefully makes Jin-Gitaxias a little slower. Okay, so they didn't play anything, which means they probably don't have the mana to play, like, Cube or anything. For Cube... When Cube comes out, I can immediately Fatal Push. So I can go Ledger Shredder now, see if they do Crippling Fear. If they do Crippling Fear, it is what it is. Oh, wait, no. Oh, I would have to... I'd have to just Ledger Shredder and then do something right away. So I could Shock and then Molten Impact their creature. Ledger Shredder gets too big for Crippling Fear. They might cast Gelatinous Cube, and then I would be able to... Oh, I can go for the Thread it next turn. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, so Shock. We want to do it like this. Unless the card that they drew is a counterspell, this should resolve. And then we go Molten Impact, killing their creature. And then we don't have anything... They have one thing in graveyard. I will put back... Maybe Fatal Push or go for the Throat. Founding the Third Path gives me access to one of these twice, potentially. So it's like I have 3 removal spells. So I'll get rid of a Fatal Push. And then we're sitting on 4 mana this next turn, so it's a pretty easy double spell. They play a creature, I go Founding in to go for the Throat, hold up, Drown on the Lock. It's pretty good for me if they play Gelatinous Cube. They would have had to draw the land, though. Okay, they drew the land. Is it Cube? It is Cube. Okay. That's fine. We draw our own land here. So we'll probably just go Founding the Third Path, hold up Kolagon's Command, and Drown in the Lock. That feels pretty good. Go for the Throat. Target Gelatinous Cube. Get our Shredder back. Sweet. And we say end turn. They are about halfway to a Jin-Gitaxias. We'll have to hold up Drown and Lock for this. Or, I mean, honestly, Spell Pierce is going to be the one that counters it. Okay, so I could Drown or Spell Pierce this. They have only 3 things. I could Kolagon's Command back my Ledger Shredder, I guess. That seems pretty solid. Then we'll use the mill this turn. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, so then we'll Kolagon's Command. We will discard them and return a creature back. Autopay. Go to 12. So now Death Shadows are online. Professor Onyx can come down. She is potentially a problem on our -3. I mean, I think whatever they play these next 2 turns, I need to try to kill. And it's really annoying that they are probably going 6 Professor Onyx, 7 Jin-Gitaxias. My Drown of Lock will be just 1 too slow. I have Inquisition or Kolagon's Command. I might need to Kolagon's Command to get their graveyard, or to get my Drown in the Lock online for their next turn. Okay, some stuff in the graveyard. It's looking like it'll have to be Spell Pierce. I might even just need to let a Onyx resolve. Right, they have 5 cards, so it doesn't really matter if I hold up Drown in the Lock or not, so I'll go Ledger Shredder by Luris. So I go. So we can Spell Pierce here, and then founding the third path, discarding a card through Kolagon's Command. Okay, yeah, so there is a line here. See what the move is. I assume it's just Professor Onyx. Alright, so this has to be Spell Pierced. We go to 11, but we don't really mind. Alright, so here's founding the third path. I think that we do not have a Thoughtseize in here, do we? So yeah, the only way to make them discard, I believe, is the Kolagon's Command. Cast this. And then, do we have a creature card in our graveyard? Did we mill anything? Yeah, there's another Ledger Shredder. So we will bring back one of those and make them discard. Ledger Shredder and discard. And we have just enough to hold up a Drown in the Lock. They'll need to naturally draw the land if they want to play this Jin-Gitaxias, or they can play whatever their other card in hand is. If I'm them, I think I might just need to get rid of the Jin-Gitaxias, but they may just bank on it winning them the game if it resolves. Pretty smart play, pretty disciplined play, honestly, by my opponent. Let's see. I'm worried about a big banger, but I have a Drown in the Lock to save me here. They've got 7 cards in grave. I think I'm happy doing this, casting a Ledger Shredder. We will discard, probably just get rid of the land. And then we'll hold the Drown in the Lock, we get to go in for 1. Alright, so now begins the slow crawl. They have something for my Ledger Shredder. Discards 2 cards, then exile their graveyard. Well, I think we'll Drown in the Lock that. I want to keep my Luris and I want to keep my graveyard. I don't think for 3 mana they can do anything that's really that nasty here. Okay, cool. So I get to play a permanent out of my graveyard. For 3 mana, I'd be able to play a Founding the Third Path, that'd be 5. Then I'd have 2 left over to play something. That's not terrible. I can think about doing that next turn. I also have Inquisition. No Thoughtseizes in the graveyard. I am not sure how I play this. So obviously I do want to cast 2 spells to get my Ledger Shredders to go. I'll discard a Ledger Shredder. Let's see. So Luris. Yeah, I think we're gonna let the shields down for 1 turn here and hope that we don't get punished for it. We haven't seen a single Death Shadow yet. So here's a Founding the Third Path. We get to connive twice. And wow, the opponent doesn't think they can dig out of it. Well, we dealt with their threats pretty well and presented a board that didn't necessarily win the game, but definitely would over the course of a longer game. So, pretty solid gameplay here. Alright, that was round 2. Let's hop into round 3 and try to do it again. Here we go. Alright, here we go. Now this is an interesting one. You can go turn 1 Inquisition into turn 2 Thoughtseize. And that'll give us a pretty good indication of what they're doing. We also could drop a Ledger Shredder if we're not really worried about what they're doing. This is good against a creature-based deck, bad against control or any sort of mid-range. Let's try it and see what happens. I would not take this on the draw. Inquisition, what do you got? Okay, so mono black control. We got Elspeth Nightmare. Alright, that's fine. Power Tour less is good against our Ledger Shredder. We can just go with tap land Thoughtseize. I'm not worried about Kervik. Invoke, kind of annoying, but it's a one-time thing. And then Elspeth's Nightmare, I think. I just want to take the early plays as soon as possible. That represents cards as well. Now we can take their Invoke this fair too, which is nice. Pay 2 life for this, play Ledger Shredder, and then we get to immediately Connive. I think that I do want to get this thing moving, so I'll go Ledger Shredder here. Get that thing a little bit bigger if possible. And then Bloodchief's Thirst is just kind of annoying here. We can go... Do I want to take the Bloodchief's Thirst? Or should I play for a turn where I can get the Invoke Despair to go away? I think I'd rather have Invoke Despair out because this is a draw 2 basically. Do that. They do get to cast the Bloodchief's Thirst, but it is what it is. Alright. That does kind of clear out their hand a little bit, which is nice. Do I want to play Kolagon Command? I can get a Ledger Shredder back, actually. Yeah, I don't think I need a Lurrus just yet. Oh, but a Lurrus would be nice. Like, they're going to be top decking pretty soon. Lurrus bringing back Ledger Shredder. It would just be Ledger Shredders over and over. And then this thing is a 3-2, so I can kill it with Kolagon's Command. Yeah, so this is definitely the move. Put this in tapped, take a Lurrus into hand, say go. See what they draw. They have Crawling Barrens. This is going to be relevant at some point. Kervik, okay. And, what do we do? Do we play a Lurrus and a Ledger Shredder? Let's do it. We'll see what they drew. Alright, we'll get hit for 3 here, but we don't mind. And we have the surprise Kolagon's Command. Alright, they're going to kill my Lurrus, that's fine. At least we got the Ledger Shredder out of the graveyard. If they play another spell here, then we get a Ledger Shredder trigger. Looks like we will not. And if I Kolagon's Command now, I can get back my Lurrus and replay it. I'd go to 5 though, which is a little sketch. Let's live dangerously. 2 damage and return creature card. We want to return our Lurrus and kill the Kervik. Cast Lurrus. And I think I need to have Fatal Push out for the Crawling Barrens. Swing in. And we get to play another Ledger Shredder next turn. That's fine. I'll do the EI first, looking for a land. We find the land. Founding the Third Path is a free Fatal Push here, so I'll take that. We'll put the other Ledger Shredder back and play the Fiery Islet. The Ledger Shredder that we cast will be the second spell we cast. I'll play this. Maybe I discard the Founding the Third Path. Nah, that's too much card draw. I'm not going to do that. Another Ledger Shredder. I think we just go Founding, it doesn't really do much. We have Kolaghan's Command out of the graveyard when it comes down to it. For now, we don't want to. Do I make a Lurrus trade here? I think I just sit tight. The Lurrus trade can even come when they attack. Oh, nice. Oh, they exile our graveyard. That sucks. I'm glad I held on to the Fatal Push then. We'll use Fatal Push to deal with Crawling Barrens if that happens. Nice. Oh, they don't make it into a creature. Cool. This going in, we will block. Go to 7. Now our creatures can attack, which is useful. We have Inquisition, it doesn't really matter here. And so founding the third path doesn't do anything for me right now. I can just go ahead and start to mill. Started on chapter 2. And then our next chapter can Kolaghan's Command to bring back a Death Shadow. Perfect. And then we don't care about the Crawling Barrens because we have Fatal Push in hand, so we go for 2. See what their card draw is here. We do need to be kind of careful here about, I was going to say Invoke Despair. They're going to take out our Ledger Shredders. Or no, they're not. They chose Odd. Alright, we take this. Interesting game plan there. I think they just shame conceded after making the wrong choice. Happens to the best of us. I've been there. So what does the rest of this game look like if my opponent had decided to stick it out? We would have held up Fatal Push every turn. That basically neutralizes the Crawling Barrens. Things that they could have drawn included Invoke Despair, which is probably the worst thing. They could have exiled my graveyard more. But really, other than that Invoke Despair being drawn, that's the only thing that could have taken me close to life total. And I had a creature and enchantment to make sure that the max I would take, assuming the enchantment wasn't there, would be 4. So I'd probably be fine from this position. And then in terms of offense, it is just... Oh, actually, you know what? I didn't even have my Kolaghan's Command. It got exiled. So then probably what it would have been is EI, just look for some more stuff. If I find a Death Shadow, I play it. Otherwise, I look for my other Kolaghan's Command, and then I just start to loop Lurrus and Death Shadow, and we are good from there. Alright, another good game. Let's hop into round 4. Here we go. Alright, round 4. So basically we have Temur Battle Rage and Death Shadow, 2 very late game cards. Fortunately, I think this means that I'm not taking this hand. We don't really have a turn 2 play, and that's kind of important. This is not bad. I think I get rid of the Founding the Third Path, but basically I get to play turn 2, turn 3 pretty consistently. Even turn 2, turn 2 if I need to. Like I usually do when I'm not sure what my opponent's playing, I will not shock the Watery Grave because we have enough ways to really get around that later. I'll play a Ledger Shredder, see if they have a Spell Pierce or a removal spell for it. Alright, so I guess the better play around Fatal Push, maybe the answer is Kroxa instead. Oh well. If we draw any good 1 or 2 CMC spell, we get to Founding Third Path. We don't get to do it here, but what we do get to do is hold up our 2 instants. And we'll probably be able to do the first casting of Sorin's Ransom. No creature to make the Ring Bearer, unfortunately, but to basically look for deep is pretty solid. Plus, that'll be 2 extra cards for Kroxa. Alright, let's go Sorin's Ransom. We'll resolve this one, choose our opponent. And let's see what they do. Oh, it's just Spell Center. So this is fairies. Got it. Okay. Well, a resolved Kroxa will be pretty good here. It's a little awkward, but I just have to play Kroxa. Looks like a Fatal Push, unless they have something to exile it. Alright, so I don't think they know how Kroxa works, which is good for me. And no need to play a Death Shadow into immediate death. So we can basically have enough to exile Kroxa the next turn if we draw something. Kolaghan's Command can discard. Ledger Shredder is kind of interesting here because I can use it and then just cast a Stillborn Death Shadow. And then maybe use Founding the Third Path in order to get some more value. And that actually might be better. I'll still be putting 2 cards into my graveyard. Yeah, I think this is better. Plus, I have the opportunity to get a counterspell out of them, but even though they don't seem to have it, it's all good. We will take a land if given one. Nice. And we'll get rid of the Founding. And here's Sulphur Springs. Now we can start getting ready for a Lurrus. Oh, Ledger Shredder dies, darn. What I'm saying is we can get ready for a Lurrus and start looping this Death Shadow. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a thing that they could do. So now we don't want to start taking damage. We want to use the Shieldred to lower our life total. Should I bring back a Ledger Shredder? I don't really know. Ooh. Kolaghan's Command, bring back Death Shadow is good. Making them discard. Hunter's Tap. Do I have enough? I have the right colors to do this. Discard return creature. We will take back a Death Shadow. Target them to discard. I didn't realize we're still at 14. Okay, can't play this Death Shadow yet. Crap. Alright, well, on our next turn we'll have a pretty big Death Shadow. Right, they have Shieldred One Ring combo. That is a problem for me. Nothing in my graveyard kills that, so we need to have a very big top deck here. Expressive Iteration. That can find our one of Go for the Throat. Start with the eye. Damn, this almost works. Molten Impact. Shieldred's a 4/5 though. Fatal Push can go to hand. I don't know how I want to do this. Nothing left the battlefield for me. I think I put Fatal Push to hand. Yeah, this has to go to hand. Molten Impact doesn't do anything for me. Alright. We got a Death Shadow. It's a 5/5. Does tangle with good old Shieldred here. We need to watch out for any sort of removal on the Death Shadow, so we gotta hold up Fatal Push and we cannot buy Lurrus. They'll know that we're holding up something. Yeah, we gotta kill the Shieldred soon. Okay, go for the throat here. This is going to turn on our Fatal Push. Wait for them to attack. Try to kill Shieldred. Go to 7. Ooh, that works. Cool. Means we get to go to our turn here, and we draw another Death Shadow, which is great. We will get rid of Death Shadow. Ledger Shredder. I don't think we need Sauron's Ransom and Ledger Shredder, and get rid of Founding the Third Path. I think that is probably how we want to do it. Alright, and this comes in unabated. They discard a card. We have a Death Shadow going to 6, so it's a 7/7. 13 power on board to their One Ring that shocks them every turn now. And they do not have everything here. Okay, so it's a Shieldred. Not too happy to see that. We'll draw here. Go to 4. 3, 6. I cannot buy and play Lurrus here. Once again, I have to do this stupid Fatal Push thing for Shieldred. So I will, I guess, go in with the boys. Wait, no, I can't do that. I can only go in with one of the boys. We'll go with Kroxa. Kroxa is the better one to attack with. We're happy if they trade. If they don't, it's fine too. Alright, we'll buy Luris. And we say go. So basically this game is coming down to deal with Shieldred, and then other than that, everything else doesn't really matter. And so now I'm seeing that this is not necessarily fairies. This is actually just a mostly mono black deck with some blue that probably plays Bitter Blossom. Alright, so they're going to go up in life. We can get rid of Kroxa. And we're dead. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, that is enough to kill us. Alright, well, we were unable to overcome the pretty meta combo of Shieldred One Ring. Honestly, that is something that I'm not too upset to see. I think we held pretty well there. We just struggled in getting our loop set up. You know, it was tough not having some of these cards stick around. But I think I wouldn't really play too much differently here. Like, I need to get the Kroxa out. I need to use these Fatal Pushes to take out Shieldred. And that's kind of the thing about Fatal Push. It's not really great against a Shieldred. But in a deck where you're really playing a lot of like treasures and stuff like that, like if this was like Rakdos Control or something like that, Fatal Push would be a little bit better there. With that being said, you know, this is what happens when we try out variants. Not every game goes our way. With that being said, that was a great round 4, though. I think we saw a lot there. One final round coming up here. Let's hop in and try to end it on a win. Here we go. Okay, final round. Let's try to win it. We get Inquisition, and then we can do a turn 3 Founding, casting Expressive Iteration, or we can just go Founding, doing something else. We'll keep this hand. No red for Expressive Iteration, which is annoying. So yeah, maybe I will cast it off of Founding the third path. Kind of want to do it turn 3 so I can use it to make my land drop though. Let's take a look at the opponent's hand and see how, or what we need to prepare for. This is the thing that makes a bunch of golems, and they're basically going to try to blink it. Okay. I'm okay with them returning permanents to my hand. I am less happy with them bouncing this card over and over. I think I'm pretty happy to just kind of take this one slow. We don't really even need to rush a Death Shadow or anything. Charming Prince, okay. Two to the top. What do I think about that? Not good things. Alright, so we got Founding the third path on 1, cast Expressive Iteration. Hopefully find a land. We do. Temur Battle Rage can go back into the deck. So go untapped. Okay. So we'll utilize their Charming Prince to do a little bit of damage to us as we play a slower game plan. Will they put my... Oh, they're going to give me this back. Nice. That's kind of a surprise. I mean, I don't have another 2-drop, but it's okay. Oh, well now I do. Or I have something that's effectively a 2-drop. Saren's Ransom. Yeah, it's okay. Nothing perfect. Let's go Founding right now. Cast Inquisition. No card, so they're just going for Nahiri's Resolve and Terror the Peaks. Alright, makes sense. So, what do we do here? If I shock... So, okay, they basically hit me to 14 here. If I shock, I'll be able to cast Death Shadow next turn. And, maybe we just also do this, trying to mill ourselves. Look for that Kroxa, that all-important Kroxa, as we fill up the graveyard. We'll get to mill another 4 in our upkeep and maybe have a turn to, get going. So we mill 4. We will get to recast Expressive Iteration. Looking for removal. We don't find it. Does Inquisition go to hand? I think it should. Alright, and then this can come out. Would we like to shock for this? We don't need to shock unless we want to play Inquisition of Kozilek, and we know that 2 of the 3 cards are not going to be able to be dealt with, so we'll put this in tapped. We'll go Death Shadow. We got a 1/1. And it'll be a 5/5 if they decide to hit us here. They actually get to have an Ether Channeler every turn. I think this is actually a good block here. Oh yeah, I forgot that this is how Death Shadow works as well. Okay, cool. So we get this. We have Kolagon's command now. I'm going to cast this one. We can make them discard, and we can return a creature card. Let me make sure I have something in there. I think there's a Ledger Shredder at least. I'll take a Death Shadow though instead. Boom boom. Take a Death Shadow. Target them to discard. Auto pay. And yeah, no Thoughtseize, sadly. Could I have played a Thoughtseize here? I think I could, right? No, I only have Inquisitions in hand. Or in graveyard. Oh, they take a Soul Herder away. So we gotta deal with the Terror of the Peaks next turn. That's not awesome. Then do I need to work with an Inquisition? Or do I need to work with Sulphurous Springs? I'm gonna have it out here just in case. Go ahead and make a block here. Go to 8, make this a 5/5. Now we can tangle with the Terror of the Peaks. And they're going to try to kill me with their Terror of the Peaks. And it is at the beginning of their end step, they come back on the upkeep. Okay. I think I represent a kill here, depending on how they resolve their Nahiri's Resolve. Okay. Oh, this is fine. So, founding the third path. Can I do anything that kills that? Draw and block, right? They only have 3 things. Crap. Alright, well I can't deal with the Terror of the Peaks. I don't want to get hit by that. I don't want to shock my Watery Grave. I have 3, 6, 7 mana. I can buy Lurrus. Oh wait, no, I can make them have to block here because they're dead if I shock this. So this is a forced block from them now. Yeah. Can even go to 5 if I really wanted to. Yeah, it looks like we were pretty chill there. So what I do is they have to block with Terror. Their thing comes back. It's whatever. This same turn I can Lurrus buy, Lurrus play, and then I have things out of my graveyard. I can even just Founding, start stripping their hand. And if I find some more stuff, then it's even better. Okay, yeah, so we were able to kind of make this one work from against a pretty interesting deck. I really like these ETB decks. Jeskai, of course, is a very cool color pairing that you don't get to see very often. And Ether Channeler is a card that I don't get to play very often, but I think is pretty cool alongside Nahiri's Resolve and Terror of the Peaks. I might give this deck a try, and maybe you'll see it on the channel here in the future while we wait for a new set and new content. With that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this content, and if you want to play this deck for yourself, the deck list will always be in the description below. Speaking of below, if you want to support the channel, you can drop below and give the video a thumbs up, or comment on the video if you like certain things about it. All these things help me with the YouTube algorithm, and you know, we're trying to get out of a slump right now with the algorithm, so all that helps a lot. Also, if you're a new viewer of my channel, you can help by subscribing. That number is very meaningful to YouTube and is, you know, a good indication of that people are enjoying what I'm doing, and so I'll continue to do it. With all the rambling out of the way, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next